Welcome back to part 2 of bringing back to life a 2008 MacBook Pro. In my last video, I discussed how I'd have a lot to learn from this old machine, and let me tell you what, a lot of learning is what I did. Step 1 was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be because what I needed to do was decide on which Linux distribution that I was going to use with this old Mac. We'll come back to that later, but currently, as you can see, it's taken a very long time to boot up. That's because these old Macs have a hard drive, and those moving parts are a lot slower than the modern day solid state drives. But if you look here, we're at our current login screen, and I thought this was cool, so I kept it here. It was a bug that I turned into a feature because I like it. But it also taught me a cool little command that running this start X command will pull my GUI up for me. So I kept it that way. That was one of the first things I ran into that was a little interesting. But we are cooking with grease. I knew I would need a 8 GB hard drive to download the ISO file, but deciding which Linux to use, I needed some help with. I ended up consulting with my project manager, Mr. Claude here, and he informed me of a couple things. My original plan to try and install Omarchy on this old device was way out of scope of support. And if I'm just being honest, it was very much so wishful thinking on my part. So after that dose of reality, I ended up just throwing my hands up and realizing the technical specifications do not align with what Omarchy wants. However, my assistant Claude here definitely made a wonderful suggestion, which was to go with a distribution I have never heard of before called Manjaro i3, since it was an older Mac. So I went ahead and followed its instructions and went to this beautiful website over here to install the i3 window manager. What that is, I do not know, but I will click it and continue and installed it. It took me to the boot screen holding that option button right there. The first problem I ran into was I used open source drivers. No, proprietary drivers is what you're going to want to click on. So don't forget that at all. Because if you're like me, I didn't read any part of documentation and I winged this whole project, which caused me a whole lot of unnecessary headaches I want to save you from. So please like and follow for part 3 so I can discuss some of the issues I've ran into and to show the MacBook where it's currently at.